Today's speech, we have Russ Kosch giving his third speech from the Competent Communicator Manual, and title of speech is Oil and How It's Found. He will talk about what oil is, where it's most often found, and how the very first drilling location is determined. Russ' speech is normal 5 to 7 minute speech. Please welcome Russ for his speech. One more note which Russ asked me to remind is there are some handouts which he has passed. There are 5 sets, and he will be referring that to the meeting. Through the
We need to share them.
Yeah, we need to share them.
Drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. How many of you remember that? 4 years ago, a magnificent national energy policy put forth by one of our parties, short-sighted, ill thought through, guaranteed to bring in a lot of contributions from the oil industry. Before I get into how oil is looked for, let me give you a quick overview of what oil is. If you turn to pages 1 and 1A, you'll see photographs of the first page is plankton, and the second page is foraminifera. You've probably heard that oil is largely rotten, decomposed vegetation that's been squeezed, cooked, baked over the years. The main component, though, is the plankton and the foraminifera. They form in ooze at the bottom of the sea over hundreds of millions of years. They're compressed, heated, baked, until petroleum is formed, usually in a porous rock. If you turn to page 2, you see a diagram of where oil is normally found. The first one, the upper left, is an anticline. It's a bowing of the crust. There's a non-porous layer of rock. Underneath it is gas and oil. Gas may or may not be present. On the right is a fault trap. A crack in the earth has slid by the other one, and a non-porous layer traps the oil and gas and pour it from a porous rock below that. On the lower left, there's a stratigraphic trap. A non-porous layer of rock overlays layers of non-porous or porous rock that perhaps in the past have been faulted or buried subsequently by the upper strata. In the lower right corner is salt domes. They're not as common as the others. Page 3 is a diagram of a fault trap. Again, water and gas may or may not be present. The field crew, page 4, on the right, on the left side of the diagram is a truck that has computer equipment. Tied to it or connected to it are wires with sensors on them, very sensitive sensors. The geophysicist handles the crew, and what I was an observer, and this is the way I dress. In this case, it's dynamite as the source of energy. Dynamite charge is set off. And the hole in the middle, buried about 10 feet deep. Shock waves go down through the ground, reflect up, and shake the geophones. There's also surface waves that go across the ground from the explosion. Also wind, airplanes going overhead, other things that can set off the geophones. On the right side is just a little example of raw data. Every trace is from a geophone. The amplitudes of the waves on the right have been colored in to make it more easily recognizable, or easily discernible. On pages 5 and 6, we have a photograph of a geophone connected to wire. Also a crew laying out a geophone cable. And in one picture, it shows a crew drilling a hole for the dynamite charge. On page 7, I have an example of, again, raw data. You can see the blast going down through the ground. Surface waves go across the surface, where the air meets the ground and produces slower waves because it's not as hard as the rock below it. The fuzziness in the upper right corner of page 7 is noise. It can be ground waves, air going, or wind going over. And down below, what's happened is they get rid of that noise by passing through a bandwidth filter. So it filters out the unwanted large amplitude, low wavelength noise. And you can see already some strata are coming into view. Page 8 shows what the data would look like after it's been filtered, but also after a lot of other phenomena are gotten rid of, like diffractions and other unwanted signals that mess things up. You can see that the strata are already coming into view here, and a lot of the noise has gotten rid of. The last page on page 9, the coloration is not mine. You can see that geologists and geophysicists have identified strata and identified faults, primarily in the left section. You can see the slippage up in the left section where plates have dropped due to faulting. Who knows, it may be possible that in the middle of the diagram on the left, maybe there's a trap. Who knows? This will be up to the geologists and geophysicists to decide. If they decide there's something worthwhile looking at, they would say, let's drill a test well. If the test well is productive, then they would go on and develop the field. But to identify where the very first well is drilled, that's how they do it. So the next time you hear drill baby drill, now you know what's involved. Thank you.